So I'm just going to go through a little seminar that I do on how to install a garden fish pond. So there's many ways that you can go about installing a garden fish pond and various things that you need to consider. So the first thing to consider is basically where to put it. So I'm a big believer in putting the fish pond in an area that you can enjoy it. So you don't want it right up the back, you want it somewhere that you can interact with it, because the fish really are pets. So the more interaction they can have with you, the more successful the pond is going to be, and the more you're likely to enjoy it. It is preferable not to put it in full sun, because that may encourage algae, and you definitely don't want it under a residual tree, which is going to drop leaves in it all the time. And it is good to have a raised side on the side of the pond, particularly if it is in a backyard. That way it'll stop when there's a lot of water runoff or whatever. It'll stop all of the gunk from your garden ending up in your pond. So like your universal rock ponds have got a ridge around the outside, that's perfect for just deterring water from running straight into your pond. The next thing to consider is the shape of your pond. In general, the bigger the better. The bigger the pond, the happier you'll be. So often I've been involved in someone building a pond, and then once they've built the pond, they always wish that the pond was bigger. So starting off as big as possible. It's also important to understand the legal depths of the pond. For example, in Australia, you're only allowed to make a pond 30 centimetres deep unless it is fenced. So fencing a pond obviously is an option. Glass fences look awesome. Otherwise, keep it legal if you choose to. But be aware of it anyway. Next thing is what you can make the pond out of. So there's formal and informal ponds. A formal pond means that it's a specific shape, a square, a circle. An informal pond is something that looks much more natural and is not like a square or a circle or a very formal shape. So you have ponds that are made out of cement, you have ponds that are made out of liner, ponds that are made out of fiberglass, and it's really cool if you can put a glass window in it, especially if you are doing a fiberglass or a cement pond. It really adds a lot of dimension to the pond if you do have a glass face in it, if you are doing a formal pond. There are preformed ponds available, but the ponds I like the best by far are the universal rock ones, because they look extremely natural and they're very easy to install and they last forever. So if you have a formal application, formal ponds can sure look good, but nearly every time I see a liner pond, they look crap. Most of the time they've tried so hard to cover the liner around the outside, and you can really tell it is a liner pond, and these ponds always look fake. It's people go and decorate them by putting rocks around the outside, but I think they always look crap. If it was up to me, I'd either make a universal rock pond, because I've done lots of them, they're easy and they look great, or if I am going to make a much larger pond, then I would consider making it out of liner. You can also get universal rock copings to go around the edge, which are called edge rocks, to decorate them. But if you do use preformed ponds or liner ponds, just be really aware of making them look good, because most people don't. Next is how to aerate the pond. You can aerate the pond using a water feature, so something like a little fountain. You can aerate the pond using a creek, which can flow into the pond. You can aerate the pond using a waterfall. You can put a pump that's going to agitate the surface and give a bit of clockwise or anti-clockwise flow. You can put an air stone in it. You can put pond plants in it. But one of the most important things about a pond is not only have a waterfall, but if you can have a pump that's going to give you kinetic energy. So it's going to get some, say, clockwise flow, for example, in your pond is really quite important. So it'll clean up the waste that's in the bottom of the pond, keep the oxygen and redox potential high. It's really worth having kinetic energy in the pond. So therefore the pond moving on itself with a pump just turning it around and agitating the surface, which will also create aeration. Next thing is putting a filter on the pond. So the aim of the filter is to grow bacteria. So if you had a filter like that, the bacteria will grow in all that medium. in a filter like this, the bacteria grows in here. It's very important that the bacteria is never washed with tap water, because the chlorine in the tap water will kill the bacteria. So the bacteria that grows in the filter breaks the waste down from the fish. So if you do need to clean your filter, you clean it in water from the fish pond, not water from the tap. So get it out, wring it round, put it back in again, tip off the dirty water type thing. So you can get internal filters. That's a filter, UV and pump all in one. I try and make sure that every pump and filter system that I sell has a UV in it, because a UV sterilizer allows the water to pass via a UVC light, and that will kill any algae spores and keep the water crystal clear. In general, a pond receiving sun with nutrients from fish is going to be an algae farm. So get a UV and make sure you replace the globe about every 18 months, and make sure you take it fully apart and clean the quartz sleeve a couple of times a year as well. So you've got internal filters, you've got external filters that sit on the side, you've got pressure filters. A pressure filter is the one that you can put the pump in the aquarium, in the pond. Then you can pump up into the filter and then up to run a water course or waterfall or something. But you need a pressure filter if the outlet of the water is going to pump up. That particular one is a Aquarel one with a backwash. They're really good. And once again, ensuring you have a UV on your system and ensuring you've got kinetic energy. So ensuring that your water flow moves around like this is really quite important to ensure your water stays nice and clean and clear, and that your surface is well agitated. Next thing is what to add to the water. You need to add a water ager, because there's chlorine in most tap waters. I also encourage adding a bit of KH powder, because there's no carbonate in many tap waters. I also add a little bit of salt, about 1 gram per litre. I don't put in too much or it might affect the plants, but a little bit doesn't harm the plants at all, and it does increase the immune system and promote the body slime on the fish. We also tend to add a little bit of bacteria enhancer, such as Bactamax, just to make sure that we do get those good bacteria in the filter. So it's really important you never run the hose straight into the tank. You want to treat the water before you put the water in the aquarium, in the pond. And you also want to make sure that when you're doing a top-up, which is not a water change, that you don't put salt. So that was just a little bit of information on how to keep a garden pond. Basically, it is extremely easy to keep a garden pond, and if your pond is not absolutely thriving with beautiful water plants and healthy, happy fish, then just email me, Paul at majesticaquariums.com.au, and I can probably help you out. If you send me your water results and you send me a little video of your pond running, then there's nothing I can't fix. I've been in the industry for 22 years. I've seen it all. I've done it all. I've fixed it all. And I do enjoy it. So if your pond isn't the way you love it, first thing I want to do is introduce you to our YouTube channel. Go to majesticaquariums.com to see our website, and go to Majestic Aquariums TV on YouTube. Assumably you're watching this on YouTube right now, so just click subscribe and put little comments down the bottom if you want to comment or ask questions on our videos. And if there's any way that we can help you have the pond that you dream of, then let us know, because it is something that we really love doing. Having a garden pond is absolutely a feature to any backyard.